Hey crypto friends, so some breaks for the bears just occurred. Nice timing to come on here and talk about it. So Bitcoin had multiple inside bars on Coinbase that broke bearish. That bear break was down at 4036 and here we are now a couple percent below that level. But one thing that is worth noting is looking at other exchanges, things were a little bit different. So if you look at it on Bitfinex, the Bitfinex bulls broke the daily inside bar to the upside. But this is an example where you need to look at more details, because if you had zoomed into the 4-hour time frame, you would see that that bull break didn't do anything for the 4-hour time frame. The 4-hour chart, we still had our resistance level up at 4,488. We had the low of consolidation, lower high, higher low. That bull move that broke the daily inside bar bullish was just the timing of the candlestick rolling over. So the timing definitely matters in how these candlesticks form, obviously. And in this instance, we got a bull break of multiple 4-hour inside bars. It was a bull break of the daily inside bar, but it didn't do anything to change the 4-hour trend. All it did was set another lower high compared to 4,370 and then drop down and break support with a clear bear break. So a little bit more clear just in terms of there not being any fake outs on Coinbase, but even on Bitfinex where there was technically a fake out, if you want to look at it that way, if you looked at the details, it wasn't a fake out. So here we have our high, low on Coinbase. We held those supports. We just formed a lower high when we were talking about the last video yesterday. We were saying, all right, now we're looking for 4-hour consolidation. We're looking for the higher low to form. That formed today. Inside bar, bull break. No follow through. Bears jumped on the opportunity. Clear bear break was 4,036 breaking. And now it's all about the low of consolidation to this point. If the bulls can hold the low of consolidation overnight, we're going to be looking at a daily little mini equilibrium. First off, of course, the 12-period exponential moving average on the daily chart, very important, as we projected from that level now 6 days in a row, 5 days in a row pretty much, pulling back a little bit harder. Volume is extremely low, at least on Coinbase, and again, you compare that with other exchanges, it's fairly low all around. But if we can hold this support level, we're going to have our high of the bounce, low of the pullback, lower high where we rejected from exponential resistance again, and then the bulls holding a higher low. At this point, the odds favor a bear break. The bears had the momentum. We're oversold in the short term. We're just seeing a short-term oversold bounce. We're going to need significant follow-through on this bounce for the bulls to hold this level. If they can hold this level and we trade sideways, we're pretty much just going to have a tightening range with a break imminent. Either the low of 38.69 support or the exponential resistance is going to become support. So pretty much as we head into tonight, all of these individual names are set up very similarly on the daily time frame, and all they're looking to do is hold the low of consolidation. If that low breaks, it's the same thing that I said 2 videos ago, where I said if this low breaks, the odds that we're heading back down to test the lows increase fairly significantly, because at that point, there's a lack of support anywhere nearby. If we look at the 4-hour time frame, after 38.69, we're looking down at 35.62, and then the lows from that point. That's why that level is so important, because there is no support established aside from that level anywhere nearby for about 10%. And at this point, I will be exiting the rest of my 10% position on a break of that. But at this point, that 10% position for me is not really fluctuating the account a whole lot with what's going on with these price moves. So I'm in no rush to act on it, but I will act on it if that support level does break. From there, I'll just sit back and patiently watch the low likely get tested of 34.56. Again, that's all depending on whether or not 38.69 breaks. If it holds, we will have a continued tightening range. And it's a little less clear here, but essentially the high, low, lower high, this would be a higher low if we can hold this support level, and then we would look for another lower high into tomorrow between 4,100 and 4,200. The increasing bear volume obviously doesn't make the bulls comfortable. The Bitcoin shorts aren't doing a whole lot. In the last 6-7 days, the shorts are just trading straight across. So not a whole lot of change in terms of the number of shorts that are out there, but pretty much just a support test over tonight. And the question is, can the bulls hold it or not? The bounce that's underway right now, we see the hourly RSI just dip down to oversold. We're going to have the hourly exponential resistance to be watching on any bounce attempt. And the 15-minute trend has to change and get over its exponential resistance, which has rejected a couple back tests before this breakdown and bear volume spike. ETH/USD daily time frame coming down to the low. So that low support is about to be tested, just like Bitcoin, 109.24. Resistance is the high, and then our lower high. So it is a little mini equilibrium if we can hold this level. Otherwise, it's just a little lower high and lower low. 109.24 is the must hold level, keeping in mind that individual names can break bearish, have to see Bitcoin break bearish as well to get any follow through on that break. If we see the bear break on ETH after 109.24, 99.26 is the next support level, 10% with no support. Bulls can still hold this level. If they do, we'll bounce up and we'll look for a lower high, perhaps around the 116 area, and for this range to continue to tighten. Litecoin on the daily time frame, same as everybody else. A little bit more room to work with. And if we zoom in, we can see the 4-hour potential equilibrium. If we can hold 30.67, we will then look for a bounce and a lower high, perhaps around the low $33 range, to stay in this tightening range. Again, the odds favor the bears because they have momentum and volume and not a whole lot of distance to go before bear breaks, but it is possible that the bulls can hold these support levels overnight tonight. XRP, similar to everybody else. So we've got the low of the pullback close to being tested. It's a 4-hour equilibrium. If we zoom in, lower high was set. Have to form the higher low. If we do, tomorrow we'll look for a bounce and perhaps a lower high around 374 or so. And wrapping it up with XLM USD, a little bit different look than everybody else, but overall pretty much the same concept. 4-hour time frame, high of the bull move, low of consolidation, lower high, testing support, 15.35. If that breaks, 13.8 is the next clear support level. If it holds overnight, we're going to look for a lower high around 16.5. XRP, the next support after 355, we're looking down at 34607 and then 329. So again, fairly simple check-in to do here. It's a key support level. The bulls really want to show up right now and hold this support just like they did, again, 2 days ago. It's pretty much the exact same video as 2 days ago, except a little bit more price action has played out. But it's a must-hold support level. It's the same must-hold support level. The bulls did a good job of holding it just barely that night of that video 2 days ago. And now we're watching, can they do it again and continue to stay in this tightening pattern? So that's where we stand overall. Bears are getting ready to potentially jump in due to the lack of support on these breaks if we do break them. If I were a bear looking for an entry, the ideal scenario for me would be for the bulls to hold this level initially. I would want to see a bounce, cool off the RSI levels on the shorter term time frames, set a 4-hour lower high, and then the bear break. Because at this point, we have seen the bears move from 41.85 straight down to 3,900. That is a $285 drop. So if we get the bear break, we're not likely to get a ton of follow through initially. Whereas if we were to bounce and hold this level, set the lower high at 4,000, let's say $4,100, and then get the bear break, it would only require $100 before the bear break, as opposed to already being $285 into the bear move. So that's where I prefer my equilibriums tight, my patterns tight, because the follow through that you get on a break of a tight pattern is more significant because there's less distance covered to make that break. So that's if I were a bear. If I were a bull, have to hold the support level. We're likely to set a lower high unless big bull volume were to show up and we were to just head straight to a higher high. But the most likely scenario would be a lower high and continued tightening range, and it would probably take until about maybe late Tuesday, maybe early Tuesday morning in the US here for a break if we hold the support. So pretty much all we're looking at is, can the bulls hold the support overnight? And if they can, we know we have a tightening range to continue with the daily exponential resistance on watch as well. So quick check-in. Hope you all had a good weekend. Going to get back in the action here. A lot of action in stocks going on. Geopolitically, the Fed talking about lowering their speed of raising rates. We've got China and the US working on their trade deal, making progress. Stocks are looking really strong in response to these positive events. And still, we don't have cryptocurrency really reacting to any of this significant geopolitical action. So still in its own little world at this point, watching to see if stocks are going to cause any kind of reaction here. But at this point, you know, as soon as that news came out, we knew stocks were going to open higher. Futures are trading with stocks opening higher right now. So if there were going to be any kind of crypto correlation, in my opinion, it would already be priced in at this point. So I appreciate you watching. I hope you all continue to do good things out there. Lots of good stuff over this weekend. My little do good thing for today was hanging out on a porch, and it's been, you know, in the 30s in North Carolina where I was at. And I was out on the porch, and it was a beautiful day out in the 60s. and it was just a screened-in porch with a ton of wasps, flies, stink bugs, ladybugs, and everybody just waiting the inevitable death in their screened-in tomb. So I went around and spent 5 minutes with a jar and collected over a dozen bugs and put them all outside, and they all flew away. And in my opinion, that little effort of extending these creatures' lives, a lot of people obviously think insects are just whatever and smush them. But I look at something like that, and it's so intricate. And the fact that that little thing is walking around and communicating with its entire community and alive at this point in time on this planet, it's astounding that that thing can live and perceive and interact with its environment. So I feel that I have absolutely no right to just extinguish that. So by extending their lives and sending them outside, you can think of the ripple effect of that, where maybe a bird is going to eat one of those flies that I let out, or a frog or something along those lines. And I like thinking about that stuff, and I also like bugs. So that's that. Hope you have a good Sunday night. Again, Bears have the upper hand. Key support test is underway, and it's all about the low of 2 days ago. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. So there I was getting rejected by all these middle Bollinger Bands. Steep sheep.